Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name is Robyn and thank you for joining in on another video. The weather is really crazy today. It's going from raining to really bright and sunny like it is now, but I wanted to come under here and do a little bit of seed starting. I have brought my cup of coffee down in a mug that I got Scott for Christmas. We give each other mugs for Christmas and I'm stealing his for the day. And the past few days I have been potting up a lot of plants. I've got a lot of tomato seedlings on the go and a lot of other seeds that I've started, including lots of okra, rosellas, some more corn seedlings. A lot is going on in this little potting area that I've kind of created. I'm gradually starting to put some plants around. Obviously it is under the house and there's lots of stuff around, but I'm gradually trying to make this area a little bit more nice and cozy for me to come down here and have a little bit of me time. But enough rambling. I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of a shorter video sharing just some of my favorite ways to improve your potting mix. So I really don't care, and I don't think anyone should care what kind of potting mix you use. It's really your decision according to how much money you have to spend, both your social, environmental values of what you want in your potting mix. Completely up to you. I do try and steer clear of anything that isn't too unnatural, so I try and go for more organic mixes, and also looking at potting mix that has sustainable ingredients in it. But sometimes I just go for the cheapest option at Bunnings that I can find, particularly when I'm filling the raised beds up in the area around the pool. I have gone for a little bit more of a cheaper alternative, and I've added a few different things to increase the nutrients and the properties of that potting mix. So those few things is what I wanted to share with you today. Just some really cheap and affordable and effective ways to increase the productivity of your potting mix that you're going to be using. So first, coffee. Okay. The first addition that I really love to use, that I have been using for ages now, is coffee grounds. One of my favorite things to use in the garden, because we drink so much coffee in this household. This is about a few days worth of coffee grounds that I just take out from the espresso machine. And this is all used coffee grounds. So I always like to add this into a mixture, particularly mixtures that I was using up at the raised beds that don't really have a lot of structure and they just need nutrients and organic matter. Coffee grounds is perfect because it's not going to be attracting a lot of animals, including rats or ants that might want to eat food scraps, but it's packed full of nitrogen and is going to basically add life to your soil. So coffee grounds, I always like to add in a few handfuls to whatever potting mix I'm using. The other addition that I always love to do, which is completely free like the coffee grounds are, apart from buying the coffee, which I need to stop buying so much of. The other addition to add nutrients to the soil and all those different minerals and things that plants need to grow is worm casting. So I've been trying to increase my population of worms that we have at the property by adding another worm farm, and I'm also going to be adding another one fairly soon with just recycled materials that I have around the house. And the worm castings are just packed full of nutrients. They're really just black gold. It not only adds all of that nutrients, but it's also going to be adding the different microbes and bacteria that can feed off the coffee grounds and all of the other organic material in your soil to again create that biome and the life that you want in soil. When you think about it, bagged soil has been sitting there for who knows how long. It's got no life in it basically, unless you're getting inoculated soil. The cheapest soil which I was buying really didn't have any life in it. So those two things are a way to increase that life in the soil. Another way, of course, is adding fresh compost. You all know that I love compost and it's kind of a given. If you've got compost to use, it's always a great idea to add it into anything that you're buying from elsewhere to add in more naturalized and local bacteria and microbes into whatever you're bringing onto site. Because it's coming from elsewhere, it's not local to this area. Adding worm castings and compost are ways to create a more local, naturalized soil microbial biome that your plants will thrive in a lot better. Again, these are all really just my favorites that I like to use. Definitely comment down below some of the amendments that you like to use. I'm not saying you do have to use these or you don't. These are just some ideas that are really, really cheap to use and really readily available as well. Another one is garden lime. Garden lime is perfect if you have a mixture that is quite acidic. This raises the pH to be more neutral, but it also aids to break down different larger bits that you may have in the potting mix. So the one that I used before It had some quite large chunks in it. It was basically just like a rough mulch, to be honest. And adding lime or gypsum are ways to help break that material down. Also, creating more of a neutral environment with a pH that is in between alkaline and acidic is also just going to allow any plants that you plant to that mixture to absorb nutrients a little bit better. When soil is too acidic or alkaline, the plants may grow okay, but when it comes time to fruiting and flowering, they might struggle a little bit, and that's just because they can't obtain the nutrients that might be in that soil. So it's all great to add coffee grounds and worm castings and compost with all of that packed nutrients in, but if you're not creating that balanced pH, then the plants aren't actually going to be able to obtain that nutrients. And adding lime definitely helps. And then lastly, what I love to add to potting mix that doesn't have a lot of structure is some sand. So this here is propagating sand from Bunnings. I think it was under $10 or so this bag. Wow, those cicadas around me have really piped up right now. So again, adding different nutrients like coffee grounds and compost is great, but if the plants aren't able to send their roots through that material to then obtain all of that nutrients, they're not going to get it. And that's why adding sand to more poor potting mixes is a really great option, because it fluffs up the soil and promotes the free drainage that plants really like, so that they can send their roots through to obtain water and the different nutrients that they need. You can definitely source sand for free. You just want to make sure that you're not going onto someone's property and shoveling out buckets and buckets of sand. But there are so many different creeks and rivers around. You just want to obviously make sure you're not disturbing the ecosystem, but grabbing, a few shovels of some river sand is a great option. I probably steer clear away from sand from the beach, just because it is going to be quite high in salts. That also goes for river sand. You just want to make sure you're getting the right type of sand that is fairly neutral to be adding to potting mix. So those are my five favorite additions to adding to more poor potting mix. You can get bags of potting mix for $3 or so, and there is completely nothing wrong with it. Now the sun has gone, so this video is all over the place. Again, there's totally nothing wrong with whatever potting mix you find. Also, don't forget to work with your native soil as well. This is more for, raising different seedlings and adding to pot plants and that kind of thing. You can also just spend a little bit more money and get all of this in the bag. But often if you're doing it more on a larger scale, sometimes it is easier to just get the bulk materials, such as the soil part, and then amend it with all of these cheap alternatives. So let me know if you use any of these amendments or what you do use in your soil. There are so many different options out there, and soil science is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love learning about the soil. I am an environmental scientist, and this is definitely me in my element, talking about soil. So definitely if we can start a conversation in the comments down below, that would be really awesome, of what we all like to do. If you've got any free amendments that you source, definitely let me know. Or if you just do spend a little bit more on your potting mixes and your garden soil. Soil is definitely the most important part to growing fresh and healthy vegetables. Everything that the little seed is going to grow into and into the plant and the fruit all comes from the soil and the atmosphere around us. So creating that environment for the plants is super important. So I'm going to continue my coffee and make up my little soil mix. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a like, and Happy New Year for tomorrow as well. I'm going to try and get this up tonight, which is New Year's Eve. So Happy New Year, and I look forward to making a lot more videos in 2021. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. And until my next video, happy gardening everyone. Bye.